All right, here's my review for Wonder Woman 1984. I just finished watching it on HBO Max here at my home theater at home, and man alive. First off, I have to say it. Thank you, Gal Gadot, and thank you, Patty Jenkins. You have just delivered the second most amazing film. I mean, this is a 1-2 punch by these two people. I had doubts going into this, okay? I had an amazing experience watching the first Wonder Woman film. And I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory, so please stay with me on this so I can get to the review of the entire film. This is going to be spoiler-free, so I'm not going to spoil the movie from you. The only thing I'm going to tell you ahead of time is make sure you stay for the whole thing and you watch the scene that's in the middle of the credits. Wow. I'm almost at a loss for words, and I probably sound a little different too. The movie made me tear up. Yeah. Okay. The first Wonder Woman movie, I grew up in the 80s, and I always had this feeling when I saw Christopher Reeve play Superman. An amazing feeling. It was like magic. And I never had that feeling again until Wonder Woman. When Wonder Woman came out, my wife and I got to see it early, and I've seen every DC movie early except for this one, and it killed me. I really wanted to see this, and I didn't have a chance. Finally it hit HBO Max today, and I watched it as soon as it got released. That last Wonder Woman movie brought that feeling back. I have not felt that way about a superhero since Superman, since Christopher Reeve as Superman as a child. I've loved superhero films, and I love the DC films, but I never got that magic feeling until I saw Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, as directed by Patty Jenkins in that film 3 years ago in 2017. I got to see it early. It was an amazing experience, and I was actually cheering in the film. I teared up. I actually cried. I could not believe it. That movie just brought all those feelings back of being a kid. The No Man's Land scene is my all-time favorite superhero film at this point because of the feelings it brought back for me. And that was an amazing scene. And I was really hoping we were going to get another scene like that in this film. And the good news is we did. It's the one time where I actually tear up during the film. And yeah, first off, okay, so let's talk about this movie. I watched a lot of reviews, spoiler-free reviews, and I got a sense from a lot of people where they said, the story's okay, but they could have explained a lot more. No, they actually explain everything. If you're paying attention, they explain everything that is happening. There is nothing left to the imagination. If, I watched Grace Randolph talk about this, and she was confused about how all these things, went into motion in the film. No, it's all right there. I don't know what people are talking about. They explain everything perfectly. Pay attention. The story's all there. It's all right there. If you aren't paying attention, that's your fault, okay? It's all there. So none of this is out of left field. It all makes sense. The story is a complete story. The only thing I would say that is not complete, and my only complaint is in the film, is we needed a little bit more at the end to show what happened with some of the characters in the film. It's kind of a one and done at the end, and we have this amazing post-credit scene. Stay for that. I'm dead serious. Stay for that scene. The movie is amazing, okay? It's not perfect. My only complaint, like I said, is at the end. The third act in this is again where it suffers a little bit. I would have maybe changed a few things at the end, but overall, this movie's amazing. This made me feel like I was watching a movie in the 80s. This felt like an Indiana Jones film set in the 1980s. That's what this felt like. It kind of felt like watching The Last Crusade, but set in the 1980s. That's what this felt like. And when you have there's a lot of Diana in this movie. And when you have that and she's investigating and doing what she needs to do to figure out what's going on, it has a very Indiana Jones feel to it. which I really enjoyed. I'm glad there's no overly political message in this film. This is what I really like about what Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot have done and what Warner Brothers has done and DC Comics here, is that they're letting these women be powerful women without going off into some political message, which I love. This movie straight up was amazing from the beginning until the end. It was different than the first film. The first film seemed a little more intimate. It moved a little faster than this one does. There is quite a bit of exposition. One of the complaints I saw from almost every reviewer is that they kind of threw Cheetah in this, her friend in the film. That's not the case. She was not thrown into this movie. She was very integral to the plot. From the beginning to the end, she needed to be there. I would have liked for her to have her own film. She's not the villain of the film. She's a part of the plot, but she's not the main focus. And I kind of felt like that's part of the thing at the end that I would have changed. And it wasn't terrible, but I think there could have been more done with it. Now, the movie was long to begin with, and this is people's complaint. If they took out the whole Cheetah part of the film, it's going to shorten the film probably by about 45 minutes because it is 2.5 hours long. But I really think we would have lost a lot of the meaning of the film. Like, I really think she needed to be in there. It helped move the plot along. It was very integral to the story. So I have no complaints that she's included in here. I just hope it's not the only time we see Cheetah. I hope there's going to be more with her at some point in the future. There's no way to know what's going to happen with that whole thing. But trust me, it's not, if you've been watching people do reviews, it's not like that, okay? It's much better and integral to the story than what you may have been led to believe. So I want to talk a little bit about the cast and some of the feelings I had here. First of all, Gal Gadot, she's Wonder Woman. There is no question about it. Chris Pine back as Steve Trevor, awesome. So well done. So much was riding on how that storyline played out. They do it perfectly in every sense of the meaning of bringing him back. They do it beautifully. And I had real big worries about that. You've got Kristen Wiig playing Cheetah. Her transformation in the film is amazing from the opening until the end. She did a fantastic job as that character, played the role really well. We also have Pedro Pascal playing Maxwell Lord. Again, his transformation from the beginning to the end of the movie was incredible, and everything makes sense. The casting in this movie was spot on. I had no problems with the casting whatsoever. The actual filming and the cinematography, holy crap, the opening sequence, the best opening sequence I've seen to, I think, any superhero film ever. This opening sequence in this movie, they released a little bit of the clip a couple of weeks ago, and that's only a little bit of what they show you. Trust me, that has been heavily edited. There is so much more to it than what they showed in that preview, okay? Go in knowing the beginning is gorgeous. The music, holy crap, the music in this movie. Hans Zimmer is back to do another superhero film, even though he said he was done. And thank heavens he's back. The music in this movie is phenomenal. It is so well done. Probably my favorite score by him. And the main track that they play at the beginning is my favorite track out of the entire score. It's something you could listen to over and over again, and it does elicit a feeling, and you just, the imagery, the cinematography, the way it was filmed, an incredible opening to the film, and it does have a lot to do with the story later on and what Wonder Woman's, what she goes through to get to where she needs to be by the end of the film. So the story's really well thought out. The cast is amazing, and we have all the returning people. Like, we've got Connie Nielsen back. We've got Robin Wright back. We've got a lot of the Amazonians are back. And so this movie, I can't tell you how awesome it is. And the part where I actually teared up, let's talk about that just for a second here. That No Man's Land scene in the first film, like I said, is amazing. I wanted another scene like that. And I was told there is a scene like that. They don't say where it is. I'm not going to tell you where it is. But we actually get to see Wonder Woman be Wonder Woman in this movie. And there is a scene where it's another one of those moments where you want to stand up and freaking cheer. And I absolutely loved it. It was so freaking well done. It made me cry. It brought those emotions up. Yeah, they did. I could tell you that we've got almost a perfect film here. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I can't give it quite 5 stars. And I don't think I give the first Wonder Woman 5 stars too. I think I give it 4.5. But, what we have here is Patty Jenkins, who can direct. She can get you to feel stuff. Now, it's been announced she's going to be doing a Star Wars movie, Rogue Squadron. Yeah, I'm going to be excited to check that out because she can bring something to movies that a lot of directors can't bring at this stage, and I love the feel. This movie does take place in the 80s, and it has a very 80s feel to it. And in fact, the first, not the opening sequence where they're in the Amazon, but on Themyscira, but when they're actually in D.C., this takes place in D.C., most of the film does. When they go there, the beginning, they're in a mall with Wonder Woman, and yeah, it's very 80s. It's very cartoonish. This is more cartoonish than the first film, but that's really only in the first third of the film where that takes place, and then it gets a lot more serious, more in tone with the original film. A lot of people said in their reviews, too, that this doesn't mesh with a lot of the other DC films because of the events that happen in the film. Here's a reality of what happens. If this is taking place in the 80s, this is not a big telecommunications time. There's not a whole lot of cameras, and they make it very clear at the beginning when she's in the mall. She takes out all the cameras before she does anything. Yeah, there's a few reports of her, and there's a couple of pretty big events in the film. But if you look at the events that happen in the film, she would never even be mentioned as part of these events. The only thing that would be questionable is her time at the White House with that whole thing that they showed in the trailer. That's the only thing that you could question, but even at that, again, it's just going to be a few people talking about a few things. It's not going to be known, and I would say that most of the Justice League is either not even born yet or they're little tiny kids at this stage. So this is not going to be a big thing that is going to be talked about. The events of the film are definitely going to be talked about, but her involvement, she could go completely unnoticed as her part of the whole scheme of things that happened. So they don't mess up anything with the timeline with this. This movie fits perfectly in with the films. They crafted this. Man alive, I walked away with a freaking huge smile on my face. So go in knowing that you're going to have fun. It's a different tone than the first film. The first film seemed a little more condensed, a little more to the point. This film has a lot of exposition. It's got a story to tell, and you do want that whole story. I don't see taking anything out or, gutting this in any way. I like what they did. I just wish we could have had more with Cheetah, but what's there is good. I just wanted more. So I give this film, in the end, a 4.5 stars. You will have fun at the movies. You will tear up. You're going to get some emotion. This is a great movie to finish off 2020 with. So again, thank you, Patty Jenkins. Thank you, Gal Gadot. You are Wonder Woman. And I'm grateful for these films because not everything is great. These movies are definitely going to be worth revisiting time and time again. I'm actually going to the movies tomorrow. My wife and I, she wants to see it at the actual movie theater. So we're going to go there, and I'm going to see this movie probably a dozen times. So hopefully, if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe. As new videos come out and new movies come out, I will be doing reviews. I'm a huge DC Comics fanatic. I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and anytime any materials come out for these franchises, you betcha you're getting reviews on those. I'm really excited for what the future holds for DC at this stage. The next big event coming up is going to be the Zack Snyder Justice League cut, which is scheduled to come out in March, from what I understand. I haven't seen anything concrete, but Zack Snyder is indicating that this is going to be coming out on the 25th of March on HBO Max as well. I hope that does get a theatrical release as well, because I'd rather go to the theater first and see that. Because today's Christmas, I could not take the time to go see this at the movies, otherwise I would have, but I am going tomorrow, but I wanted to get my review up. So I appreciate everybody sticking around. Hopefully you enjoyed the review and you got something out of it. And like I said, stick around. I'm going to be doing many reviews in the upcoming future. I do appreciate all the support.